Hello, everybody out there in Rumble X and YouTube land. Welcome back to Diego Knows. I, of course, am Diego. Today, we're going to talk some more about Eat, Pray, Love. That movie that you love, I don't love. I have other words for it. Okay, but I guess it's culturally significant. It influenced a lot of women to leave their husbands and go live the party lifestyle. You know, go eat, go stuff your face, go have a lot of sex, learn new languages. Believe in various different gods, that kind of thing. And then once you settle down, and you've gained 100 pounds, and you've read a lot of philosophy books and stuff. You've taken a lot of selfies in different places. Then when you're like your late 40s and stuff, don't worry, some high value man, some 6'2", hung to his shoe, ripped abs, 7 figures, dresses in straight Armani, that kind of guy with a killer smile, the chisel features, all that kind of stuff. That guy he'll meet you and he'll immediately fall in love with you and want to give you the world. Okay. And then he'll take care of you. He'll support you, he'll pay for everything, your Botox, your boobs, your BBL. He'll take care of all that for you. And then, when you're in your 50s, you'll realize that you deserve better. Okay. And you'll go back on the hunt again. You'll go around the world, this time in a different direction. You'll stuff your fat ass, okay, and pray some different religions and stuff. And then, in your 60s, you'll find some limp dick, beta male, bald headed guy, who'll fall in love with you, but you'll realize you don't love him, and you'll end up living in a house in the Hamptons with cats, with no kids, no grandchildren, and no one who gives two shits about you. Okay, but that's a good thing, because that linguini pomodoro, vil de saltimbocca was delicious, wasn't it? Okay, so it was worth it. It was worth it. Okay. Anyway, so that's what happens here in this movie. Okay, you don't want to know the sequel to this movie. Okay, this is actually a sequel. This is actually part 2. If you've ever seen the movie Coyote Ugly, which I have not seen, I've seen parts of it. I've never seen the whole thing. I'm probably never going to see the whole thing unless you make me review it. But Coyote Ugly is part 1. It's about Liz Gilbert's experiences working at Coyote Ugly as a waitress / bartender, whatever the hell she was doing there, giving blowjobs in the bathroom, whatever she was doing there. Her experiences on that is what the movie Coyote Ugly was based on. I've never seen the movie, like I said, but I guess there's a love interest in the movie where Liz falls in love with some dude, some loser. Okay, well, guess what? Eat, Pray, Love is. Eat, Pray, Love picks up where that left off, okay? Now she's been married to that guy. She's been married to that guy for 8 years. And then she realizes that she don't love him. She don't want to be married. And she knows she's going to break his heart and all that kind of stuff. So what does she do? She pretends to be a Christian and kneels for the very first time in her life to God, and begs God, "Oh, please tell me what to do." Like she's suffering or something. No. No, people in Ethiopia that they're suffering. She's not suffering, but she's acting like she's got it worse than them. Okay, just because she wants to divorce her husband and not feel guilty about it. For her, that's terrible. Okay, so that's what she needs to pray about. But once she's told him, "Hey, listen, I'm divorcing your ass and I'm moving out of here and I'm gonna go fuck another guy." Once she's done that, she ain't guilty about it anymore. So she's fine. She's okay. See, her feelings are important. Okay, she took care of herself, which is the most important thing in a relationship, is that you take care of yourself. Okay, because you are number one, and he needs to take care of you too. Okay, because you are number one. All right, so that's going on here. Anyway, so she divorces him. I guess she has like a moment of guilt, which I'm going to give her props for that, because I didn't see this coming when I saw the movie. But she actually realized that she's the bad guy in this divorce. Now, obviously, her husband Steven is a soy boy, limp dick, beta male, whiner. Emotionally immature, scatterbrained, all that kind of stuff. That all men are in these movies. Okay, they're all that way. The women are all strong. The men are all weak. It's the men that cry about their feelings. The women that are the boss bitches, go getters, and all that. The aggressive ones. It's always the women, just like in real life. Okay, so of course he's begging and pleading for her and stuff, and he's all emotionally butthurt about this and stuff, crying about it, making a big scene in the law office, okay? So out of guilt, she decides to give him everything in the divorce, which is something that she went to Bali in the beginning of the movie. She went to Indonesia and saw some old toothless medicine man who speaks really good English, and told her, for money, of course, that she was going to end up broke, but then she was going to get all her money back, and she was going to be married twice, once for a long time, once for a short time. He didn't tell her which one she was in now at that time. Okay, and then she's going to come back to Bali, and when she does, he's going to teach her all of his powers or crap like that. Okay, of course she believes it because that's the movie. All right, so now she realizes this is what it meant when he said she would lose all her money. It means that that's it. When she gave up all of her money to her ex-husband in the divorce because she felt guilty. She felt guilty about leaving him. Okay, which props to her. Okay, I'm actually glad she did that. I got more respect for her now. So now I can look at this woman and be like, okay, she has a conscience. Because until that, I have not seen a conscience. I have not seen a woman who might have questioned her decisions. Okay, I haven't seen that. I've seen a woman who knows damn well what she wants and is trying to avoid taking accountability for her actions. Okay, but here I see her. Okay, so she legitimately feels bad about screwing over her husband, so she's going to give him a golden parachute, which I have respect for that. So she's not a total cunt. Okay, she is misguided. Okay, of course she's very entitled, narcissistic, all those things that men just find so attractive in women. Okay, yeah, she's all those things. Okay, and so she's not likable, but she's not a total piece of shit, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so moving right along, we're in the middle of a scene here where Liz is giving a speech to a bunch of libtard woke university undergraduates and a bunch of gay guys. Okay, about what love is like. Okay, and how women, only women see love as like a drug. And when you meet a guy, he's like giving you a speedball of love and excitement, and you quickly get addicted to it. And then you get mad at him when he cuts you off, when he quits giving it to you for free. That makes you resent him. That makes you angry with him. And because now you're shaking and you're jonesing and, and you look like shit and you're losing weight, like you're on Ozempic and stuff. And, and that's not fair. And that's all a man's fault. Okay. And of course, all the women are all, and the gay guy's just like, oh. And there's no straight man in the audience, so what does it matter, okay? Because if there were a straight guy, if I was in that audience, I'd just be like this, like, shut the fuck up, you dumb cunt, okay? And all straight men, but there's no straight guys in this movie, so, what can you do? That's why you got my channel, okay? Because I'm going to give it to you straight up, babe, with no lube. There ain't no lube here. Don't ask me for any. I ain't got any. I'm going to give it to you the way you like it. All right, so moving right along. Okay, so she's giving a speech, talking a bunch of dumb shit. Okay, she's like, oh, then one day he just looks at you like you're a stranger. Okay, and then we see while she's giving the speech, we're getting flashbacks. Okay, or we're cutting away to scenes of David and Liz, their relationship falling apart. David is the man she started having sex with. He's a semi-employed actor. You know what that means? He lives in a shithole little studio apartment. Okay, in between acting jobs, he probably like delivers DoorDash or some shit. Anyway, he's not wealthy is what I'm trying to say, okay? And so she's living with him now. He's 28, played by James Franco, who was 31 when he filmed the movie. We do not know how old Liz is because, of course, the character ain't going to tell you her age. But Julia Roberts, when she filmed this movie, was 43. So I'm just going to assume that Liz Gilbert is also 43. 43, fucking a 28-year-old. That's a 15-year difference. And yet she resents David for being emotionally immature. Well, first of all the men in these movies are emotionally immature. Okay, they all cry like fucking pussies. Okay, they can't control themselves. Okay, they're immature. They yell. They sing. Okay, they say stupid things. They beat themselves up, and all this is considered. This is what men are. Okay, the women, of course, never do anything like that. Okay, they're perfect. Okay, they're strong. They're stoic and all. It's the men that are crybabies and whiny and and groveling and all that kind of stuff. Okay, David, of course, is just like that. He's scared to death that Liz is going to do to him what she did to her husband, just fucking up and leave without giving him a chance to fix the relationship problem that he didn't know they had one, that kind of thing, all right? So, of course, his pussy hurts over this, okay, and we see a montage here of David is telling Liz that he feels smothered by her, because she did move in with him, okay, because she was crashing at her best friend Delia and Andy's house. Okay, and they were fed up with her pretty much. Okay, And so, Liz decided to leave. She let her husband keep the house, so she can't live there anymore. But now the divorce is final, and she decides to live with her boyfriend David, who she was crazy about him when she was still married. Right after she moved out of the house with her husband. Okay, and then she started crashing at Delia's place. She got a boyfriend right away, David. They started fucking right away, drinking, going to what is it called, Mindor's, whatever. Okay, those places where where Hindus worship Brahma. Okay, whatever they're called. Okay, she started going to that with him because he's the yogi from Yonkers. Okay, he's Hindu even though he's white. Okay, and having lots of sex, lighting candles and shit, all through the house. Everything was wonderful. He even folded her underwear when they were doing laundry at the laundromat. But now that she's divorced and living with him full time now, he's getting on her nerves. Okay, they're not having sex anymore. Okay, she's yelling at him. He doesn't want to argue with her. Then the typical stuff. When you hit the 3-month mark with a girlfriend, and that's when the real her starts coming out. Because you were a dumbass and asked her to be your girlfriend before you even hit the 3-month mark. I know I've made that mistake many times. I don't make that mistake anymore. Okay, but that was going on. So David is telling Liz that he feels smothered by her. He wants some me time. Okay, that's the kind of shit that women also say that when they say I need some space. It's the same thing. Guys say I need some me time, some time to myself. Okay, in other words, some time away from you. Okay, because you're fucking hurting my vibe. Okay, you're ruining my peace. Okay, and that is true. Okay, he wants some me time. Okay, but I guess Liz is all upset with this because it's only okay when women do it to men. It's never okay when men do it to women. That's equality for you. Okay, he walks away from her bullshit, because she's yelling at him. He's just like, fuck this, and he just walks away from her, which is the right thing to do. I know that pisses you off, ladies, but who gives a shit? Okay, you are not, if you are not contributing to my peace, then why the fuck are you even around me? Okay. Okay, and that's the truth, okay? I don't get into a relationship so that I can fucking fight, okay? I deal with enough stress at work. I deal with enough stress, okay, in my business life. The last thing I want to do is come home and have to fight, okay? That's the last thing I fucking want to do, okay? My peace is my serenity, okay? It's my treasure box, okay? And if you are not contributing to that, okay, to get the fuck out. I don't need you in my life. Okay, I don't need you to add more drama to my life. I don't need you to add more problems to my life. Okay, what I need is someone who's going to be there for me. Okay, not criticize me, not shun me, not emasculate me. Okay, not to roll your eyes at me. Okay, not embarrass me in front of other people. None of that shit. Okay, which no one involved in making this movie seems to understand that because it's nothing but a bunch of rich, privileged white women that wrote this thing. Okay, and they've never really had to struggle that much. Okay, because they were born rich and they just assume everyone's like them. Okay, that's where this comes. That's the culture of this. Okay, the woman that wrote this piece of shit book, okay, Liz Gilbert, was friends, okay, with Candace Bushel, another fucking rich bitch New Yorker who fucked a lot of guys, had no kids, and lives alone in a house in the Hamptons with a bunch of cats. Just like Liz Gilbert does as well. I'm sure they're probably neighbors and they compare notes, okay? But she's from that culture, that rich, white, privileged, New York publishing culture, okay? She's from that. This movie is from that, okay? Just, the whole Sex in the City type thing, all right? That's exactly where they're from. They're related. They're like cousins of each other, okay? So that's going on here. Liz says in her speech to the undergraduates, she says, irony is you can't blame him, but you will anyway. So, in other words, if a woman gets addicted to a man and she fucks up her life because he quits giving her the love and emotion that he used to and she goes crazy over it, all of a sudden she becomes repulsive. She says that. She says, you're repulsing. Okay, you become repulsive to them. You're skinny, you're shaking, you're mentally not there. Okay, you become very unattractive, okay, to a man. And then she says, and the irony is you can't blame him. You can't blame him for finding you repulsive. Okay, which I thought was kind of cool. Okay, but you will anyway. But she will anyway. It's like when you say something like, you know what, I totally understand where you're coming from. Okay, and I get what your feelings are about this matter. Okay, and I get that. Okay, and I respect that. Okay, but you're full of shit. Okay, it's basically like that. All right. Okay, so that's going on here. Okay, she says, you're a mess and unrecognizable to yourself even. So you don't even recognize yourself when you're jonesing this bad for some for some TLC. Okay, which I think is bullshit. Okay, this is why you really are. This is who you really are. Okay, so that's bullshit. What she's saying. Okay, she's just exposing who she really is. Okay. She just doesn't like to be reminded of that. Okay, so this drug addict metaphor that she's using, the one who's mad and emotional, okay, and ugly and skinny, okay, and can't think straight, okay, and is repulsive, okay, that's who Liz really is. That is her, okay? She's starving for affection, but she's not willing to do what she needs to do to get it. She just expects it to come to her naturally because she was born and because she can turn food into shit. So thereby, she deserves love and emotion from everyone that she wants to receive it from. And if she doesn't get it, she turns into this, okay? No, this isn't what you've done to yourself. This is who you really are, okay? Liz doesn't see relationships the way a normal person would see them. She sees relationships as a sacrifice, as giving up of her true self. She must suppress her true self, okay, for the guy. She can never show the guy who she really is, okay? She has to become what she thinks he wants. Otherwise, the relationship won't happen. Okay, so that's what she does consistently, okay? And then she gets resentful and hateful towards the man because he is not living up to what she expects him to be, okay? Yet here she is, putting on a fake face, faking her orgasms and everything for a guy, and yet he's not willing to do the same thing for her, and that pisses her off. That feels unequal. Okay, that feels like, she can't express her true authentic self to him. That's because she knows, in the back of her mind, she knows that her true authentic self is a piece of shit. So she finds an excuse to dump the man by claiming that he's not perfect, never once saying I'm not perfect, okay? And that he would never be with me if I didn't fucking act this way and pretend to be what I'm not. That's not her fault. That's his fault. Okay? And therefore, that gives her license to do whatever she wants. Okay? That's what she's talking about here. Okay? She says, ironies, you cannot blame him, but you will anyway. You're a mess and unrecognizable to yourself. And she says, and now we're at the end of infatuation. The complete inner solace. The complete devaluation of self. So at the end of a relationship, she absolutely hates herself now for what she's become. Bullshit. This is her way of coping, okay? She hates what she is, not what she's become. She was already this. She never did anything to not be this, okay? She didn't take chances. She didn't try to go some time to figure out what she wanted. No, she just jumped from relationship to relationship. Okay, instead of instead of being herself in a relationship, she decided to turn herself into what she thought her partner wanted, and then she blamed her partner for that, for not letting her be her, even though she did this to herself. It wasn't her partner's fault. Okay, you basically catfished him. Okay, but yet that's his fault for accepting that version of you, which wasn't real, the only version that you showed him. You see what I mean? So she still finds a way to blame the men for this, okay? And here she is saying that that because of the man not being what she wanted, not treating her the way she wanted, now she devalues herself. She's turned herself ugly for him. Now she hates herself because of him not giving her what she wants, and that's a load of shit, okay? Deep down inside, she knew she wasn't what he wanted, okay? What she should have done is just be honest with every guy she dated, okay? And settle for the guy that actually accepted her the way she was. You see what I mean? That's what should happen, but that's beyond the rationale of anyone involved in the making of this movie. Okay, so that's going on here. Okay, like I said, like any all these fucking feminist bitches. Okay, whatever. Okay, so she's up here like basically crying on stage during her speech. Okay, which is bullshit. Okay, she's not going to show devaluation of herself. She's not going to show you what that feels like or what that looks like. Sorry, Julia Roberts is not going to show you what a woman hating herself looks like on camera. She would never do that. You know why? Because it's a fucking chick flick. Okay, and there's rules in chick flicks. You can never ever show a woman being weak and vulnerable. You can never do that in a chick flick. You cannot have her appear weak and easily manipulated. You cannot do that in a movie, not the main character at least. Okay, she must be strong, independent, and stoic with a 12-inch cock. Anything less than that, okay, and it will not get green light by Hollywood, okay? And Julia Roberts sure as fuck won't star in it, okay? You see what I mean? So this is just a load of shit. It's her saying that fucking I'm weak, okay, and I'm vulnerable, but you know she doesn't actually do anything that shows she's weak or vulnerable. You see what I mean? That's just it. It's all just an act. The only time we ever see her weak and vulnerable, it was when she's praying to God. But she's not praying to God because she's suffering and she wants God to give her some relief. That's what she says in the prayer. No, she's praying to God because she wants to fuck over her husband and she just doesn't want to feel bad about it. That's what she's praying to God for, okay? But of course, the movie isn't going to tell you that. You need me to fucking tell you that, okay? Okay, so yes, no, women in rom-coms, in all chick flicks, women in all movies now, actually, it's 2026, this movie's 16 years old. In all movies today in Hollywood, and I'm pretty sure most streaming shows, okay, women never show weakness and vulnerability, especially when it comes to their emotions, okay? That's why you all see women beat, you know, you see a woman who's like 5'7", 110 pounds, beating the shit out of a guy that's like 6'5" and 250 pounds. You see that all the time, you know, Black Widow, you know, Arrow shows, okay, all those fucking shows, you always see that. Okay, and that's why, because you can't show women as weak and vulnerable. Okay, it's against the rules. Okay, only men can be weak and vulnerable. Okay, so that's going on here. Okay, only the men are allowed to be weak and vulnerable in these movies. Okay, that's why all the men in this movie are a bunch of limp dick beta males, and all the women are strong, tough, and don't need no man. They're strong and independent and in charge of their own sexuality. You see what I mean? Okay, so like I said, you only show it to each other. Okay, they only show their vulnerability to each other. Okay, you think men don't care? Okay, well, we don't care about the feelings of a fucking whore. Okay, and that's the truth. Okay, women in these movies don't fucking show. They show their vulnerability to each other. They'll never show it to a man. Okay, the only time you ever see a woman vulnerable here is when she's talking to another woman. Okay, she sure as fuck won't be that in front of a man. Okay, she must always have the upper man. She must always be from a position of strength when dealing with a man. Okay? Okay, and she thinks that men don't care about her feelings. She thinks that, you know, that we don't care. Okay? Okay, well, the thing about it is, okay, is men do care. We do care about women. We don't care about fucking whores. Okay? We don't care the opinions of a woman that cheats on her husband. Okay, we don't care of the opinions of a woman who's fucked 500 men. Okay, we don't care what they think about us. Okay, you see what I mean? That's the difference. Okay, you want to be able to do whatever the fuck you want, but you seem to think that men in general are going to accept that. Okay, why the fuck would you think that? Okay, but that's because women assume that men don't have standards. You see what I mean? Okay, only they're allowed to have standards, not men. Okay, so if you're a good-looking guy, you're 6'2", hung to your shoe, ripped abs, square jaw, you know, 7 figures, you know, you drive a fucking Lamborghini and all that kind of shit, you know how to dance, you know how to talk to women. Okay, women of all sizes and ages think they deserve that guy. Okay, and if that guy won't date you because you're a fucking single mom, okay, or you look like you fucking need to lose 40 pounds, okay, or you have more fucking bodies than Hitler, okay, and if because of these reasons we decide not to date you, you think there's something wrong with us. There's something wrong with us. We don't give a shit. You see what I mean? Because only women are allowed to have standards. Men aren't. Okay, that's another rule of these fucking rom-coms. Okay? Okay, you know, and the other reason is because you women don't give two shits about our feelings either. And that's the truth. It took Steven acting like a fucking idiot, okay, as a beta male soy boy, chanting inside of a fucking law office during divorce proceedings for Liz to get a clue that maybe, just maybe, she might have hurt his feelings. And that wasn't fair to him. You see what I mean? She didn't care. It took something like that for her to give a shit. And she also has no problem hurting David's feelings either. She doesn't have a problem hurting any man's feelings because she doesn't give a shit about any man's feelings. She just expects us to give a shit about hers. Now, men, as men, we do not lead with our feelings. It's not in the forefront. But we do have feelings. And we don't like our feelings being abused any more than you do. You see what I mean? For example, Andy, the beta male, the tall, bald beta male husband of Delia, he is consistently insulted and emasculated in front of other people by his wife. And yet no one raises a bullshit flag over that. Because, it's expected. He's a dumb husband. He's the Ray Romano, the Tim Allen. He's just there. The husband's just there to be a dumbass and you just insult him. All wives do that. It's fun. It's cute. No, it's not. It's not. No man with any self-respect would be married to a woman that treated him that way. You see what I mean? But we're not allowed to have that in this movie. We're not allowed to be depicted in this movie. You see what I mean? The respect only goes in one direction. Okay, so David is chanting, with the earphones on, so he doesn't have to fucking listen to Liz's bullshit. And of course, Liz is sitting in bed, unhappy, discontent, with a new look for her, Well, that's a new look for her, right? Unhappy and discontent. She grabs a book about Bali, the country that she was just in a few months ago before she divorced her husband. And she pulls out the picture that the toothless medicine man gave her, the shaman, all right? It was like a drawing of something, some fucking, I don't know what the religion is over there. Anyway, so that inspires her to fucking leave David. Yeah, see how easy it goes? That just inspires her to get the fuck out, all right? She tells Delia at work that she feels emotionally empty about everyone and everything in her life, okay? Well, yes, Liz, it's called a midlife crisis, okay? You're in your fucking mid-40s, you just got divorced, now what the fuck are you gonna do? Okay, the chances of you finding a Prince Charming are a little bit lower than they were 5-10 years ago. You see what I mean? Because time only moves in one direction too. You see? Okay, so she tells Delia she feels emotionally empty about everyone and everything in life. That's called a midlife crisis, but the movie ain't gonna tell you that. Delia tells them that all women feel this at her age. She's 43. They just go, when they feel that way, all women go through this, and when they get that way, they just go to a shrink. Okay? They don't just check out. Okay? Because that's what Liz is thinking about doing, just fucking leaving, just dropping everything. She has no property anymore. She has no real possessions, not many, Just fucking leave. Just leave the fucking country and go on some scavenger hunt, for some endless summer. Just a long-term vacation, an endless vacation, which does actually seem very tempting. It does. All right, that's going on here. Liz tells her, "I feel nothing. I got no love for you, no pulse. I need a change." Okay, well, you did that. You did that, Liz, okay? And you're still not happy. Holy shit. I need a change. You had a change, you dumb bitch. You divorced your husband. You gave him the fucking house. You moved into your boyfriend's apartment, okay? You had a fucking change. And you're still not happy. What the fuck? She's like, I'm going to Italy. Because I used to get hungry, and now I have no appetite. Language, gelato, spaghetti. Since I was 15, I've either been with a guy or breaking up with a guy. Yeah, I'm sure none of them dumped you, right? You see what I mean? These bitches that write these movies, okay? The real Liz Gilbert that wrote this book that this movie's based on. The idea that a man would find her unsatisfactory and thereby dump her never occurs to Liz in this movie. She's the one that has dumped every guy. You see what I mean? Because nothing can ever be her fault. You see what I mean? She can't ever do anything bad or be seen as doing anything bad. She has to be the victim, thereby justifying her actions. She can't be a piece of shit wife. No, She has to be married to a piece of shit husband. You see what I mean? That's how it works. Her boyfriend doesn't want to deal with her bullshit. Thereby, he is emotionally unavailable. Thereby, I need to leave his ass. You see what I mean? That's it. Okay, she's like, I've never given myself 2 weeks to take a breather and just deal with myself. You've had your whole fucking life to deal with yourself, okay? You basically do whatever the fuck you want, okay? So don't tell me that the problem you're having is that you don't put yourself first, okay? That is the only thing you have ever done. All right, it's the same shit you yelled at David for doing, okay? So here she wants some me time, but yet not 5 minutes ago, she was yelling at David because he wanted some me time. So it's not good when he does it, okay? When he puts his earphones on and wants to listen to his fucking Hindu yogi shit, okay, without you fucking yelling at him, okay? That is abusive to you, okay? But when you want to fucking leave and just do whatever the fuck you want to do without your partner, that's okay. That's empowering. You see what I mean? You see the difference? And Delia figures it out. She's like, okay, so you got problems with David. Okay, yes, she does. Okay, she's a fucking cunt, and he doesn't want to be in a relationship with one. Yes, that is a problem. Okay, but it's just not the way Liz thinks it is. Okay, so David wakes up and finds Liz sleeping on the floor instead of next to him. Okay, because they share the same apartment. Liz is on the floor crying about herself, of course. She says, I don't know how to be here. And he looks over her and goes like, then, you know, if you want to be here, quit waiting for something to happen, which is actually good advice, okay? What the fuck? Why can't you just be happy with what you have? Why does it always got to be something fucking better? Okay, why can't you be grateful? Why can't you just fucking be grateful? Okay, if you keep wanting more and more and more, you're never going to stop wanting more and more and more. You're going to miss out on everything that you've had. You're going to miss out on the people that cared about you, that you threw away because you deserved more. You deserved better. When is enough going to be enough? It's never going to be enough. You see what I mean? Clearly, she doesn't want a stable, happy relationship. She doesn't want a guy who's going to love her and be faithful to her and provide for her emotionally and financially, every which way, and support her decisions. She doesn't want that because she's already had that twice in this movie. And she's still not happy. So how the fuck am I supposed to feel sorry for her love life? Liz tells Delia that she's going to go to Italy. She's going to go find the guru, because David apparently went to Italy once, and that's why he converted to Hinduism. She's going to find the guru that taught David, okay, in India, and then she's going to visit the toothless medicine man in Bali after that, okay? So that's her goal, Italy, and then India, and then Bali, okay? You know, and she says, when you're desperate and Yoda hands you a prophecy, you have to respond. Okay, first of all, you're not fucking desperate. You're not starving. You're not homeless. Okay? You're just unhappy with your fucking life. Okay? Your rich, white, privileged life. It's not you got any fucking kids to support or anything, all right? These are called Cadillac problems. They're not real problems. You're just turning them into fucking life-threatening events. You see what I mean? Okay? And Delia asked her, what if it doesn't work? No response to that. Okay, so she puts all of her stuff in a storage room. She finds out Steven signed the divorce papers. She gets a call. Okay, he signed it, so the divorce is now official. Okay, so there's no reason for her to stay in New York. Okay, so David and Liz wait on the steps. Okay, on the steps in front of the brownstone of the apartment where David and Liz used to live. She don't live there now. She moved all of her shit out, put it in storage, and now she's just waiting there on the staircase with David, away from each other. They both look frustrated, and they're waiting for Liz's ride to take her to the airport. Okay, she's got her stuff packed already. She's ready to go. Okay, and Liz tells David, "I'll probably be back in a week, penniless, with dysentery. Okay, now you're probably wondering, okay, how the hell if she lost everything in the divorce, then how the hell is she able to fund this endless summer through Europe, right? Well, it's simple. In real life, Liz proposed this idea to her publisher because of the success of the Coyote Ugly movie, I guess, and the article that she wrote. They decided to give her an advance on her next book, and she decided her next book would be about divorcing her husband, fucking a bunch of people, and eating a lot of food in Italy, in India, and Indonesia. And so her publisher, who of course is a fucking feminist lesbian, gave her an advance, and she used that advance to fund her trip. Okay, just see, the movie doesn't tell you this, but I'm telling you this. This is what happened. Okay, so that's it. All right, so she's sitting there. She says, "I'll probably be penniless and have dysentery, and then be back in a week." And David says, because now the car pulls up. It's Delia. She pulled up in the car. David tells her, "If you stay, we'll go out for Indian every night." So now at the very end, he's asking her to stay. I would not do that. Okay, I would wish her goodbye and good luck. Okay, but this woman does not contribute to my peace. Okay, she wants to fight me all the fucking time. Ever since she got divorced, okay, she's been a total fucking cunt. Okay, that is not a healthy relationship, and I would not want to stay with her. I would not plead for her to come back. But David has to plead for her to come back because we have to remember that Liz is a boss bitch, and thereby she is irresistible to every fucking man. Okay, because that's what men care about, how tough she is. You see what I mean? That's what we look for in a woman, how tough and how much money they have. Okay, and their boss bitchiness. That's what men find attractive in women. Okay, at least they got that part right, right, Liz? Okay, so of course he has to grovel in some way to get her to come back. Okay, we can't just have a boyfriend watch his girlfriend go away and go like, yeah, thank God she's gone. No, can't have that because that never happens in real life either. Okay, no, he's got to grovel. Okay, and beg her to come back. Okay, so he says like, if you stay, we'll go out for Indian every night. And then she just looks at him before she gets in the car and goes like, you never asked me to stay. And then she gets in the car. Well, actually, no. David says like, because you never wanted to. Come on, okay? She doesn't want to be in a fucking relationship, okay? She's using this, she purposely broke up this relationship so that she could go fucking travel the world and do what she really wants to do. She only got with David, okay, to cushion the blow of her divorce, of her marriage falling apart. Now that that's done and over with, she don't need David anymore. Now she's got to find something wrong with him so she can justify her fucking endless summer through Europe and Indonesia, okay? That's the truth here, but the movie doesn't want to tell you that. So I'm going to fucking tell you that, okay? This is all cope. This whole movie's nothing but cope. All right, so at the airport, Liz realizes that no one is waiting for her back home to come back, okay? So at the airport with Delia, she realized, you know what? There's nobody waiting for me to come back to America. No parents, no relatives, no friends, except for Delia. No boyfriend, no husband, no kids, no nothing. Okay? You know, and Delia tells her that the reason that Delia was trying to tell Liz not to do this, not to go on this trip, okay, is because she was jealous of her. Because she wanted to go too. But she can't because she got a limp dick beta male, closeted homosexual, bald, fat husband, and a baby. You know? And she can't just up and leave them, although she wishes she could. So that's why she's jealous of Liz, because Liz gets to do it and she can't. I'm serious, that's what she says here. Okay? She wants to abandon her job and her responsibilities and all that stuff, but she can't because, you know, she's got the ball and chain and all that. Okay, so the moral here is, see, ladies, okay, don't end up like the ugly black friend. Okay? Leave everything and go eat and fuck around all over the earth. That's the moral of this story here, okay? Don't end up like the happily married woman with a family and a career. Okay? Don't end up like that, okay? Leave, go travel the world, eat a lot of fucking food, and fuck a lot of guys. Okay? That's where you belong. That's your calling. Okay? That's the message here. That's the moral of this fucking movie and this scene. All right. I'm going to stop right there, but I'll be back to continue my review of this crappy movie. I thank you very much for watching this long, and I'll see you soon on the next one. Bye.